I was wondering if you could read that, what it says right there. It says, I'll see if I can read it backwards because it looks backwards to me. It says CVS Pharmacy, Stephen, due to something, CVS Pharmacy limitations. Don't die, phone. Stay awake. Uh, we will not be able to fill your prescription until today, November 4th. Okay, I'm assuming you can read that. It's kind of hard to read backwards, but somehow I managed it. I used to be able to write backwards with my left hand. I read somewhere that like you could access your subconscious by writing backwards left-handed with your non-dominant hand, and I taught myself to do that. And I don't think it really. I don't know. I don't think it really did anything. It was kind of a neat trick though. It's easier to write backwards with your offhand than write backwards with the hand that you've been writing backwards with your whole life. Anyways, I just came across a book in the library about backwards handwriting. I think Leonardo da Vinci disguised his manuscripts that way. My brain is telling me that, but my brain is not as trustworthy as it used to be. And I am not as intelligent as I used to be or well spoken. And the words don't always come out right anymore. And I'm not respectful of my audience because I have better lighting than this, but I just didn't bother. I just did that PSA because, like I said, it said November 4th on the text. So I checked into it today and then I looked at it and I didn't see any action on the website. So I was like, okay, let's see. Refill prescription. Click the button. Then it said the 9th. And I'm like, that's bad math. And then I went to and I counted on my fingers. And you really don't have to count on your fingers. But I did just to make sure. And that means I should get my refill on the 7th, not the 9th. So that means since I don't have it on the 7th, I would be going cold turkey on the 7th and the 8th and part of the 9th. If they. So that's a, I said over 24 hours in the PSA, the 4 minute thing that I just made for mass consumption. Not just for us, people that know each other here. Because nobody's going to look at me for like an hour, 2 hours, you know. But 4 minutes, I can get 4 minutes out of somebody. Uh, but anyways, um, yeah. So I was a little shocked by that. So I felt compelled to do a little short thing, explaining like you can't trust because the pharmacy I don't think has ever screwed me over before. I mean, I can't think of any time that they've screwed me over. Now, doctors, woohoo, many, many times. Much more than in the PSA, but I just went with like 3 times, because I always like err on the side of caution. I don't like to exaggerate and to embellish. So, but yeah, if I was to, annoy you and go through each time, in my brain, I'm sure it's closer to 5 or 6 times that they screwed up. The physicians screwed up, and this is the first time really that I remember the pharmacy committing a screw up of this magnitude. Because if you think about it, if I'm a newbie and that's not some kind of error that's on the website, uh, yeah, and I'm just taking the pills just like the doctor told me to. I'm 2 days in cold turkey, and that might be my first experience in withdrawal, and I might have a seizure. I might die, or I might just have a really shitty 2 days where I think I'm losing my marbles because my body is torturing me and my brain is torturing me because cold turkey is the party to end all parties. But yeah, anyways, I was already on camera, so I thought I would stop in briefly and say hi. The lighting is insufferable, and it's even more insufferable. You're like, just quit it and get on with it. Not here to look at you. We're here to listen to you talk. Cool. I get it. Okay. Um, as far as my physical condition, I haven't addressed it yet. I haven't decided what to do. I called uh, really the only person I can trust completely, and he was busy. I expressed what happened and my situation, and he was waiting on somebody, and they showed up, and he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go," and he never called me back. But I mean, he's got 1,000 things going on, including like his mother with dementia, and she's at the point where people with dementia get abusive to their caregivers, and if it's your mother and your mother is abusing you verbally, even though you know on the top of your brain that that that's not really her, that's her dementia talking, it's still really hard to take because that's still your mama. It's still your mama saying those bad things to you. So, you know, um, I, I did some really unpleasant research on the topic of epididymitis, and I don't know what they consider dull pain or sharp pain or whatever, but this is sort of intermittent and it is different than cases I've had before. And I mean, this could linger on for like a really long time. Uh, I tried to find my care source manager's number yesterday, but I did not feel good. I was angry at myself for not remembering where I put it. I remember I was sorting through stuff and I'm like, oh, this has got her number on it. And it's got her cell phone number on it. Now I can look through my cell phone and maybe find her number on it. You know, I could probably do that, but I've got like a million calls on there and I don't know how to use technology properly. So, I can't help it. So I just, yeah, I'm just kind of like frozen, and I got depression and no appetite. I did manage to eat a couple meals yesterday. Today I'm very hungry, right on cue. My stomach's saying things. Uh, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. I woke up late because I stayed up late last night, uh, waiting for him, expecting them to tell me that Trump was president because I thought Trump was going to win or whatever. It was a lot closer than I expected it to be. I wanted it to be a landslide either way because the situation the country's in, we don't need a debated election. We don't need a drawn out process. We don't need all that doubt. We don't need. I'll post a couple of videos, and one of them's alarming, one of them's informative. But it's one of them points out, and it's by a guy who should know that the concession speech for the president is a very important thing. Like, I don't know, most of y'all are, of course, of, let's say you've reached maturity. And so you remember the 2000 election where it was won in Florida in a state that was the governor of the state was Jeb Bush. The George W. Bush was the candidate up for election. And there was like things called hanging chads, which you punch out the thing and the chad is a little piece of paper that hang down, and they had controversies over that and over voter counting and over mm, uh, I don't remember the dude's name, um, Michael something. Anyways, he's the guy with the glasses. He's a large individual that makes the documentaries, but he called it a stolen election. But we don't need that kind of a thing. But what Al Gore did for the country, which was very nice of him, because it was a very disputable election, is to just say, I concede. He just stepped down. He did the right thing. He didn't fight it because it's not. This is especially like right now. This is not a good thing that we got this like possibly disputed election, and there's a whole bunch of rules that you probably are better off not knowing concerning. Um, I guess that what you would call it an incumbent president, a sitting president at least, um, that could come into play. And yeah, none of it's. This is not a good thing for the country. So I kind of stayed up much too late, and I got up much too late, and I got up, and took inventory, and I'm like, well, nothing's really changed as far as my physical condition, and now I'm getting some pain, but it's like intermittent pain, and I was thinking like, well, I don't have a fever, I don't feel great. I mean, I should get antibiotics in me, but it's not getting worse. It's like maybe I can just go to a doctor. I need to find a doctor first. You know, stat care is what we call it around here, but it's one of them places you go into that's it's not an emergency room, but it's an alternative to an emergency room where you get like some sort of immediate like medical care. But this might be a chronic thing because there's it's a horrifying thought. Like my life isn't horrible enough, but you're talking about 6 weeks to 3 months, or something that just comes and goes intermittently. And yeah, you know how it is reading about medical conditions on the internet. Generally speaking, you don't want to do it. It's not encouraging. But yeah, um, now's not a really good time to do anything as far as like because the country's in flux. And I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, it's election day. It's really not a good time to try to get anything done. You know, the state that the country's in. Luckily for me, I live in a small town. I mean, the riots won't come here if there's rioting. Uh, I was told by somebody that lives here, an aid worker, that a couple of times in my small little town of Massillon, Ohio, there was people gathered on the streets, but she would get warning calls from friends telling her, just drive a different way. Since this is such a small town, um, you just avoid the idiots in question. People that got nothing better to do with their lives and stand out in the middle of the street. So you just drive a different way. You don't have to deal with it. And any outside agitators, I believe it was Kenosha, Washington, where I read that the majority of the people involved in the protest didn't even live in fucking Kenosha. They were like came in, and then I saw a video of like people in trucks coming out of trucks, and they already had signs that were already painted, like protest signs already painted up. It was like they were waiting for the next cop related thing to protest, and they pulled up like in a U-Haul type truck, and they jumped out of the back of this U-Haul truck in a bunch of signs. I don't know where I saw that video, but I know that I saw it. Um, so yeah, now it's just like bad. It's bad timing for me personally, and it's bad timing for me on a nationwide basis to have to deal with this problem. And yeah, I was hoping for. I expected Trump to just take it in a landslide. They had the Hunter Biden nonsense going on, and you know, it's just my perception. But I live in Ohio, and Ohio is a Trump state, so you know, there's no disputing Ohio. We're not under dispute. So I watched a few videos this morning, and there was like, well, there's four key states that matter, and you know, that are going to swing it one way or another, depending upon. We got the whole mail-in ballot thing now because of the pandemic. You know, it's just this is not a good thing, people. I mean, I don't mean if you weren't worried about it, I don't mean to worry you or anything like that, but this is not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. Um, it doesn't really distract me from my personal distress because if you got a problem with one of your fellas, that's kind of like never going to, it's like having a problem with your heart. It's like you kind of focus on this the one thing. Um, yeah. Um, so I have to try to find her number. I'll look through my phone, I guess. I mean, it's written right on a damn piece of paper that I picked up like 2, 3 days ago, and that I hid from myself in my mess of a house. And I, I remember the first 3 digits off of it. It's 203. It's probably the local area code 203 something something. So I should be able to find it on my phone. I just have to scroll through thousands of calls because the way that phone works, and I don't bother like organizing like this is a contact number that I need or whatever. I don't bother with that. I don't have enough people to bother with like contact numbers and stuff. I've been off of my benzos for a while, so I felt a little tremor in my pinky. Well, anyways, so yeah, it's probably overdue for me to call her. I just woke up late, and then like my head wasn't together. I didn't feel good, and I was thinking about ways that I got sick, and I was like, I did some stupid goddamn things, but I mean, if you put yourself in my shoes, you know, it's like you find out you got this knee, you can't walk, you can't leave your house, can't get any help with your knee, and you got all these issues. You know all my issues. You do stupid shit. So like, yeah, shit being the operative word here, because I'm taking a goddamn plunger that I put in a toilet that hasn't been cleaned in like forever, and I'm plunging my bathroom sink with it because it's the only plunger that I have. And even though I did it in bleach water, I'm trying to think if I think I might have done it the second time without bleach water. I don't know. But I know I did it the first time with bleach water, and then it like got clogged up again, just like it gets clogged up from soap, like really easy. And yeah, so anyways, enteric organisms, yeah, guess what they exist in, and that is what causes the infections. And specifically, this type of infection is enteric organisms. And I'm sitting there, you know, now that I think about that, it's how could it be that fucking stupid? That's the same sink that I got to wash out something that I'm putting inside my body. I'm actually taking a toilet plunger and from not even a clean toilet and plunging the sink and then washing out. Yeah. So yeah, that's on the purchase list is a separate plunger for the sink because it's a chronic problem because everything around here is a chronic problem. Hopefully not Mr. Rady. Hopefully he isn't a chronic problem, but that's a possibility. It's a possibility that my life is going to be much worse for like 6 weeks, regardless of medical help or not, minimum. How I'm going to cope with this, I don't know. I'm still reeling from it. This problem presented itself. Um, Really, I didn't get the pain part until a couple of days into it. But I mean, the first symptoms I got were like last Thursday night, and then like I had 2 days where I was sick and barely ate, and then I'm not sure when the pain set in. I don't know, but yeah. So basically, I'm stupid, but it's kind of understandable why I'm stupid. I'm sorry, I got something on my tooth. I just got some a devastating situation and then devastating news on top of the situation, and then like a family that's, you know, I told my brother about, he asked me how I was doing, you know, I hadn't talked to him for a while, but he did his usual thing. I poured out my distress and anguish, and he kept quiet through the whole thing and didn't say nothing. And then we talked about his thing. But I'm pretty sure that he does that. I could probably even ask him about it. I could ask him like, do you do that because you're afraid that if you say the wrong thing, that I'm going to excommunicate you? Because he expressed fears over that before. Like he didn't want to. I forget which phrase I used. Oh, he was talking about the situation with my sister, and I'm like, look, she's dead to me until I hear something from her. He was like, don't say that. And then he said, I don't want to be dead to you. So I think that's why he's quiet and doesn't comment on the situation. Is because he figures if he says nothing, he can't say the wrong thing. So, but he did ask me how I was doing. I was like, well, here's the situation. And when I told my best friend about it, you know, he listened, but there's really not much you can say about it anyways. So, you know, he didn't offer to like help me out, take me to the doctor or anything like that. He's got too much going on, and I don't expect him to. Or like, now, my foster brother who had the same condition, he was like, I think he did offer to take me to the emergency room some years ago because he could relate because he had the same problem before. And he got his in a different way. I guess I can tell you. Say he had, I'm not going to besmirch the young woman's character, but he caught chlamydia off of somebody. And it ended up, you can get that condition from sexually transmitted STIs, I think. You can get it from an STI, sexually transmitted infection. In this case, it was part of a sexually transmitted disease. So, I don't talk to the guy anymore anyway, so whatever. And besides, like, that wasn't really his fault. That happens. Uh, People can lie, even if you do ask them some questions about their sexual history. Yeah. No, I'm depressed and I'm in a bad frame of mind, but I figured that was a good opportunity to make a public service announcement in case people don't know. The problem is, like in the title, like putting benzo people. There's a lot of people that don't even that are taking stuff and they don't even know the word benzodiazepine. The people that know benzo, they're already hip usually to the idea of stockpiling. They already know the score, you know. So I'm just preaching to the choir. I don't really know how to reach the people. You'd have to like, do you take this? You know, do you take this? Do you take this? And like name off each of the uh, Ambien, Valium, Xanax, clonazepam, whatever. You'd have to name off each of the benzodiazepines in case to reach people that don't know the situation that they're in or that they're newbies and they need this information. You know, I mean, how do you reach those people? Because they always say benzo awareness day, benzodiazepine awareness days, but a lot of times, if you ask me, for instance, what class of drug I've been taking for years over here, metoprolol. I don't know what class of drug that is. I know it's a blood pressure medication. That's all I know about it, but I don't know like what it would be classed as. You know, like Valium is classed as a benzodiazepine, or what group it belongs to. I'm probably more knowledgeable than most people about prescription drugs. So there's a lot of people out there that are taking stuff and they don't know the word benzodiazepines. I've encountered medical people that said they've never heard the word benzodiazepine before. I'm talking about like specifically a dental assistant. Never heard the word benzodiazepine before. So I don't know how it came up in conversation, but it did. Like this melatonin stuff. I mean, I don't know what that would be classed as. Gabapentin? No idea what class of drug that falls into. No clue. So, you know, I know what it does, what it's for, what it's indicated for, stuff like that. But to look up its classification, to find out what it's classified as, you'd actually have to do research into the drug you're taking and the people that are doing the research into the drug that they're taking, if they're taking a benzodiazepine, are really not the people that can benefit from any kind of public service announcement. So how do you make people aware of something that they're not aware of? The only way you could do it is to name off, like I said, each individual medication and say, "Are you taking this? Please watch me." you know, I will tell you. You know, maybe what your doctor or like, are you taking Ambien? What your doctor hasn't told you, something like that. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think that. I mean, I'm thinking it out now. I didn't think it out earlier. But anyways, I got nothing better to do, so yeah, actually, I do, which is looking up that woman's number and giving her a call and getting something rolling as far as getting a doctor, getting an appointment, and then, like, this thing's in like a holding pattern right now. I woke up and I felt nothing. I felt normal. I felt like I always do when I wake up. But now I've got pain, so the pain's like intermittent. Um, so I don't know what to make of it. It's not, the way it happened before. It's like an oh no, oh no, oh no type of situation where it's like you're trying to convince yourself that one of these things is still like the other. It's not. You know, you're looking at this and you're trying to convince yourself that this is the same as this. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those panic moments where that's usually, well, when I've had it before anyway, that's usually how it goes. I did some reading on it and I found out that it may or may not involve swelling. I found out some other horrible things that I will spare you that I did not need to know. They actually have uh, a surgery where they remove, I think it sterilizes you, but they remove not the whole unit, but the epididymitis, the part that has the chronic, or that has the chronic pain. So that would be ball surgery. Yeah, I'm just trying to get somebody to look at my knee like a week ago. All I want is like, can somebody fix my knee so I can walk without sweating and like falling over and screaming? And now I got this other thing to deal with. It's just too much stuff, you know. So you get that paralyzed feeling when you got too much stuff thrown at you at once. You get that paralyzed feeling where like you don't want to eat, you don't want to do nothing. Like I told my friend on the phone, I haven't eaten yet today. I got no appetite. I really don't have any appetite for food, which is a happy coincidence in a way because I got garbage from my last global. It was the worst global food shipment I ever got. So um, I I did make a call to somebody that didn't call me back yesterday. It's always good to talk to people if you have anybody to talk to at all. I mean, even if you can't talk to them about the stuff that's really bothering you, talking is still better than not talking. I mean, if you can talk about stuff that really bothers you, that's like, you know, best case. But Anyways, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because they got my food card, and my food card has like $523 on it. I thought like I could make money that way, but really not making any money that way. I was thinking like I got this food here, and I got no appetite, and I don't want to eat the food that I got because I had a great shipment of food for last week, but the shipment of food I got for this week is not good and not appealing. And so I was like, oh, I got this card with I could buy whatever I wanted to. So I just send one of these aid workers out with a grocery list. Buy me some filet mignon or whatever, like I cook. But yeah, buy me some. What do I really like? I like that sweet and sour chicken. Big fan of sweet and sour chicken, man. Go to Walmart and buy me like one of the big buckets of sweet and sour chicken. Buy 4 of them. Throw them in the refrigerator. Just eat them for a couple of days. I realize that the vitamins I'm taking, they're expired in the year. They say infective. What do they say on it? I got infection on the brain. I almost said infectiveness instead of effectiveness. I think what it says on this bottle somewhere. I don't want to make too much noise rattling the pills because I know that's irritating. It says 117, and that says freshness and potency guaranteed through 117. So they're only expired 3 years. These that I've been taking. I have another bottle of these that's sealed that I'm going to open up because I got like a 2-for-1 deal in the year 2017. And yeah, I remember my sister bought them for me. She asked me if I need anything at the grocery store because she was going anyway, and I'm like, I probably could use some vitamins. I think that's how that went down. I don't know. It was 2017, but it was the sister that I stopped talking to in 2017. So there's another one in bottles around here. Um, yeah, I mean, that was unpleasant. My heart just did a little paradiddle. That's a drumming term. I don't know what it means, but you know, drum, beat, heart, beat. It works from a literary and comparative standpoint. It works, even if I don't know what it means. Drumming. I'm not a drummer. I've never tried to drum in my life, so and I've had access to drum kits, so never tried it. Yeah. So yeah, I suppose I should do what I need to do. Um, I mean, the Stat Care trip is not much. From what I understand, I don't remember if I've ever gone to Stat Care. It's not much different than the emergency room trip. It's just a matter of how many people are in front of you. You're always going to wait a long time. Um, According to my friend that I talked to yesterday, he said they actually can refer you to a doctor if you don't have one. Like, they'd probably refer me to a urologist or something over this. And I don't know, man. I don't want. It's just a damn shame. I mean, I don't know how. I know I got like I said, I know I got careless. I don't know if it was like just having a filthy bathroom, actually plunging the sink out. It's not like I'm touching anything on the sink, but water splashes up from the sink. You know, I don't know. I don't know how this happened. You know, it hasn't happened for a few years. But depression is a bitch, man. It makes it really hard to take care of yourself properly and to think right and to function. So, you know, and I haven't been able to walk right. And I've been a shut in for so damn long that I'm not going to be hard on myself about it, even if it is self inflicted. Why is it hot in here? I know it's not that. We've got some warm weather here, like in the 60s. It's warm for November around here. I know it's like it might go into the low 70s here, but it's like suddenly I feel very warm. Don't like it. Uh, they sent the woman here, and it's like I don't have patience. Of course, that's why I was trying to be considerate of y'all and not mess with the light and not rattle puddles and stuff like that. Because I assume you're in the same boat where things irritate you, and you're here to hear a calming voice talk about disquieting things. But anyways, this woman, I had a replacement aid worker yesterday, so I was like, I just, I was like, you can't say nothing to this woman. I'm just telling myself, don't make any comments, don't say anything. You don't know where the conversation will lead. This is the head smashed woman that talks a little bit like a cartoon character. Like, yeah, her voice is interesting to say the least. She talks like, uh, I asked one of the other aid workers, like, why does she talk like that? She was like, I think it's part hillbilly and part being slow. And I'm like, nah, I think you're the one that's slow. If you think she's slow, she's not slow. She's just old. Doesn't mean she's slow. She's actually very sharp and very good at her job. But I can't. It's just, like I said, I don't really like any of the aid workers that I've encountered there, and it's not personal. It's just like, yeah, everything's a big deal with that woman when you talk to her. It's like she takes everything like super serious, and it's like, no, I'll be like, no, that's not what I meant. It's like, I mean, I'm talking not like serious, like in an angry way. It's just like every word leads to a bunch of words from her and it gets you in like a whole quagmire. And it's like all you want her to do is just leave. And I was like, I definitely don't want her cleaning up after the big woman's mess in the bathroom. I mean, I'll talk to her about that tomorrow. Uh, I think I'll break out some whatever supplies I have here, and I'm gonna just point it at it, point her at it. You know, I mean, go lay down, and I'll tell her, get done whatever you can get done, and just leave her. I think I will take my $900 that I have in the house and put it in here though with me. I'm you know, I sent the cartoon character lady to the bank. Somebody paid very late on the last auctions I put up, so to the post office, and then I wasted $6 at the laundromat just to get her out of the house and to get her paid, and she made sure she got paid all right. Like she was way. She's like she. I asked her, and I was like, I don't know if that'll take up 2 hours, and she was like, that doesn't matter because I got permission from my supervisor to exceed 2 hours. So she made sure she exceeded 2 hours, so she get paid more. So it's more like 3 hours that she was gone, but it was um, the mattress cover thing. I was like, I just threw a mattress cover in the bag, some laundry detergent, and a pair of shorts. And I'm like, just to give her something to do to get her out of my house. But she came back and she was like, it's not dry. And I'm like, it doesn't even make any sense that it's not dry. And I didn't, I'm like I said, when I talked to her, I'm like, no extra words, you know, keep it monosyllabic, short 3-word sentences. Because I don't want to get drawn into any conversation with this woman. It's like, this is the head smash woman. Told me a story at 8:30 in the morning about her brother's brains being smashed out by a hydraulic lift, and then her other brother walking in on it, and I'm like drinking coffee in the morning, trying to wake up, and I can't tell her like, please shut up, don't tell me horrifying things like that. I just woke up, and it's like, But she assured me they did a really good job. So I had to say something. So I'm like, so you had to go identify him in the morgue? She's like, oh yeah, yeah, but they did a really good job. They like filled his head up with stuff, and they formed his face. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm in a fucking horror movie. I'm not even awake. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I know she lives alone. She's an older person with no filter, and I didn't even ask her about her dog because I was like, don't ask her about her dog. It would be nice to ask her about her dog. She loves her dog, I know, and she would love to talk about her dog. And but it will just keep going and going, and it's like I'm just leaning there, sick with my impaired fella, and I'm like, oh God, she's not leaving. I'm not even talking, and she's not leaving. And then I just finally sat down, pulled the only chair I got from the microwave table, and I sat down. I'm sitting there waiting, and she's having trouble clocking out, and then she got to call the office. And then, yeah, an example of like how you can't say anything to her is like um, she walks in, and I was like, why don't you just hand me the papers? And she was like, I have to clock in first. And I was like, oh, well, oh, I'm sorry, some of y'all don't do that. And so she was like, yeah, you can get in trouble for that because blah, 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 on and on and on, And I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to take longer than I want. I just want to go back to bed, and be, and, you know, I got a lot of things going on, and I don't want to. It's that type of thing, it's like that's not. I think I stopped there, and I'm like, that's not what I meant. It's like I understand that. I'm just saying that I understand that's not the way you do things. I'm just saying that some of the people that you work with don't do things that way, and that got me into more conversation. And I'm like, I'm gonna, I want you to go. I was like, and then she's like, she I've had her only like I think once or twice before, so she's not familiar with me. And I just write everything out on a piece of paper, and she's like, "Well, I need this, I need your phone number, and I need that." And I'm like, "It's all on the paper." And she's like, "What about soap powder?" And I'm like, it's in the bag. It's like everything's ready to go. Marvin K. Mooney, will you please go now? It's a Dr. Seuss book. Yeah, you can go buy a bike, you can go buy a bus, you can go buy a car. Cow, I don't care how, but Marvin K. Mooney, will you please go now? I don't know if that's how the book goes. I just rapped. It might be how the book goes. I don't know. That's yeah, yeah. I was just trying to think about. There's a million ways I could have fucked up and gotten sick like this. But yeah, that was like, that was the first time that occurred to me. I was just like, well, I'm grubby. I don't get cleaned up properly. It could be that. It could be any number of things. There's like tons of things that I've been doing wrong because I've been consumed with not being able to walk, and you know, and just my general despicable situation, and not being able to get help with my knee, and I only have so much effort I can put into things. Like I said in my previous video, I'm kind of done. I'm just kind of like running on fumes. So there's only so much effort I can put into things. I don't have really that much left in the tank. I mean, I don't. I would still want to live because I'm still amused by life, um, even in a reduced capacity. But yeah, if you can't walk, you can't go outside. And I got a simple situation brewing, for instance. I got a bunch of boxes that I threw out the window. None of them landed the right way. So I've been throwing like just junk out the window. There's junk also that gets spare garbage that gets blown down those steps, and that's outside back there. Now, this woman could be wrong, but she's like, somebody's moving in, huh? And I'm like, are you talking about the guy upstairs? Because he moved in a while ago. And she goes, no, somebody's moving into, yeah, the house next door. And I'm like, really? And she said, like, yeah, well, somebody's putting in some windows, I saw. And I'm like, crap, that means I got to go out and clean that mess up out there if I'm going to have new neighbors. I mean, I looked outside through the bathroom window, and the rain gutter is still down, and everything's still a mess back there on their side of the property, on a nice little deck that overlooks the woods, where the guy used to grill all the time, and where I threw like I thought the raccoons would eat it. So like that one summer, I threw a bunch of like the what remains of fish after you clean them. I just threw them in the woods back there, and I thought, raccoons are too well fed around here apparently, because I thought they'd clean it up. They didn't. So I was like, I go back there, and this is a long time ago, and I'd be like, whew, that stinks. And then they're out there trying to have a cookout on the deck, and I'm like, yeah, I just accidentally played a cruel practical joke on them. I mean, I don't know how long that lasts. But I think I did an experiment. Like, I just thought, see, we had a raccoon in a cage when I was growing up for absolutely no reason other than to drive it insane and torture it. I mean, I don't know. But I used to feed it carp, and it would eat the whole damn carp. So I just thought that that's the way wild raccoons are. So, like, I had some fish that I didn't want to clean, and I just threw like three fish out the window when I knew there was raccoons out there. And I watched them, and they took a couple bites out of them, and they're like, meh, meh. And I was like, well, I'll check it out. It was in the summertime, or at least in warm weather. So I was like, I'll check it out later. And I was like, I got to get them fish, man. They're not eating them. I got to get them before they stink. And I had to go back there and pick up a bunch of dead fish. And I just didn't want to clean them. And yeah, I had done that before. Uh, but like I said, the raccoons around here apparently are too well fed. Uh, but anyway, the point being is I got to check that out to see if somebody. You remember Eric, of course, the guy that got driven out of here because he had a 8 months pregnant wife. I don't know if she was 8 months, but she was huge, and two small children, and a meth cookhouse directly across the street, and he was well aware of it, and so he was forced out of here by my landlord, and hates my landlord with a passion. Anyways, that house has been empty for a very long time. Whenever that meth crisis was, um, 2018. Yeah, I believe he moved. Um, he would still come back, and I would see him periodically, so it's kind of confusing to remember. Because I saw him like last summer, said hello to him and talked to him, and anyways, yeah, I have to go back there and clean that crap up if there's new people moving in, and that's going to be like a job since everything is a job. You can't be just throwing garbage out the window. It doesn't really matter. I thought about like if the Roy guy could see it because his window is like right next to the bathroom window. He has a window over there, and he would complain about the pocket maniac drunk guy that he would throw his beer cans, if you remember that story, out the window. And then that one day, I directed that guy to pick up all his beer cans and put money in his pocket, way more than the cans were worth, and then he yelled at me and threatened to punch me in the face for giving him more money than the cans were worth because he was saving them for a rainy day. And I was like, do you have any money now? And he's like, not really. And I'm like, well, it's kind of raining now then, isn't it? You know. He was like, that's not the point. The point was, those are my cans. You don't get to sell them for more money than they're worth, and put in all that effort to put extra money in my pocket, you sick son of a bitch. Of course, he didn't say that. But that was actually the logic behind it. It's like he just didn't like the idea of me doing that. I figured, like I said in a couple other videos, repeats always with me, is I figured it benefit three people. It benefit the poor schmuck walking down the street picking up cans, having no luck, because he had like one bag with 3 cans in it. So I was like, a bunch of cans back there. It benefits me because I was trying to go back there and make friends with my cat because I was moving because of the drunken pocket maniac guy. I thought, and so I was going back there to try to make friends with my cat to try to get him to come back in the house because he was a full-time outside cat. Now, the third person that would benefit, besides the guy picking up the cans and besides this poor ugly motherfucker talking to you right now, is the actual guy that was throwing the cans out the window because I just gave him more money than they were worth. So, and I questioned him about that. I was like, he had a big, huge can of beer cans on the porch. I'm like, how much do you think that bag of cans is worth? And he gave me a number, and I was like, I just paid you more than that. And he didn't have a big, giant garbage bag full of cans. He had 3 little, like, plastic shopping bags. And he was, of course, that's not the point. The point is they were my cans. So, I remember asking him what he thought the cans back there were actually worth after I told him I gave his cans away, and he says, "How about a punch in the face?" He's threatened to punch me in the face, and I'm like, "If you feel the need, go ahead." Anyways, back to my situation. Like I said, like depression is a dangerous thing because you stop taking care of yourself properly. If you have existing health conditions, that can mean bad things for you. In my case, that can mean very bad things. You know, if you have a situation where you can't walk around, apparently you get fat and your metabolism changes. Because I used to have a fast metabolism, as evidenced by the picture that I showed you, where I had no meat on my bones at all and looked rather starved, but was actually quite strong. It doesn't look like it in the pictures, but I think no, that wasn't the trip where I was beating the 200-pound guys at arm wrestling. That was a different trip. So yeah, I probably wasn't that strong in those pictures. But the point is I had a super high metabolism, which is good to have a high metabolism because it means toxins get out of your body faster. It's healthier to have a higher metabolism. It, it's healthier to be thinner. And that is where I got that information about metabolism was from the book Thinner, which is why I have a copyright strike on my account, is because I love that book. It's my favorite Stephen King book, and I put it up, and they gave me a copyright strike for it. Now there's thousands of Stephen King books. I don't know if somebody didn't like me or why I got a copyright strike or what the deal was or what I did wrong. I have no idea. But I looked up the information about your metabolic rate, and I had talked to physicians before about it, and people with higher metabolisms actually you get a higher metabolism, stuff moves through your body faster, toxins move through your body faster, you have an easier time moving your body. You're healthier that way. That's why a sedentary lifestyle is, not good, and why exercise and a good diet. I always talk about exercise and moving around and stuff. Well, they don't talk about that much to people with Baker's knees. But yeah, yeah, depression is dangerous, and it's not just dangerous in Like, I want to go out and jump off a bridge. Dangerous. It's dangerous in other ways, because it makes you it makes you focused on things that are major and not things that are minor details in your life. And those minor details, contain those devils that'll get you. In this case, those devils are little bacterias. Uh, yeah. So I guess I need to get off here. And like I said, I already had the camera up and running, so I thought I'd give you a few minutes of my time. Whether it was worth it or not, I don't know. Um, but I have to address the fact that I haven't had the stomach, haven't eaten. Need to find that woman's phone number. Um, I can at least leave her a message if I can find it fast enough. If I don't talk to her, and maybe she can help me. I don't know. And also, I have to go to the bathroom. So yeah, adios.